Hey everyone, welcome back to Pokemon Reborn. On the last part, we discussed the reconstruction options that you have for Reborn City. We went over each of them, and we also did the side quests that were unlocked with each option. Which brings us to why I'm here in the basement of the Grand Hall once again. Unfortunately, I did miss one side quest. I put it in the description of the last video. However, if you upgrade the Railnet, then there is one side quest that you can unlock, which is here in the basement of the Grand Hall. And you get it by talking to the scientist here. So he will basically say that there is a Pokemon uprising in this section of the Railnet that is over there in the Wasteland. So we're going to go ahead and head off to the Wasteland and deal with that. So over here in the Wasteland, we want to head sort of like we're going towards Kiki's grave. That might be just a little bit insensitive, to be honest. So we want to go into this building right here and jump off the ledge that is right over here. And once we're up on this ledge that is all the way over here, you will see a door that is right here. We've actually been here before. We grabbed the cotton candy that's to the left of me currently. But if we enter this stairway right here, we will find the Pokemon that were discussed earlier. So we will have two sets of mob battles right here. The first is going to consist of Aron and Larion. All of them will have the sturdy ability, and they will be holding Custap berries, which is a pinch berry that allows you to move first if you're on low HP. The gimmick here is this is in the Railnet, this is sort of a cave area, and if they use Earthquake twice, it will faint all Pokemon on the field. So the first battle is going to aim at trying to take all of your team out. The easiest way to deal with this is to set up a terrain so that they can't actually do that. So something like grassy terrain, electric terrain, either of those will work. The second battle is actually a little bit different, however. It's going to be a bunch of high-level Aggron. These Aggron are all going to be level 75, and they are all going to know the move Bulldoze except for one of them. There's going to be one Aggron that is actually going to have the move Rock Slide, and it's going to have the Firium-Z. It's a bit weird having a wild Pokemon use a Z move on you, but just kind of roll with it. And some of these Aggron will also be holding Telluric Seed, which on the cave battlefield will increase their defense by one stage, and it will also damage them with Stealth Rock, which is kind of nice, but I don't think any of them actually have a defined ability, so you don't have to worry about sturdy on any of them. So with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and wipe all of these guys out, and I'll talk to you in a bit. And with that, the Pokemon refugee crowd should be cleared out at this point. Over here we can actually grab the Aggronite. It's a bit weird because the Railnet reconstruction will actually give you two Steel-type Mega Evolutions. It's kind of overdone. Something else that is interesting to note about this area is you can actually find Wild Lairon, and I think even Wild Aron. Which is nice because once you finish the Railnet construction, you can no longer access the event Aron that you would find in the other portion of the underground Railnet. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and head back to the Grand Hall and collect our other reward. So back in the basement of the Grand Hall, we're going to go ahead and talk to the scientist again, and he should give us the Firium-Z. Something to note for this walkthrough about the Firium, the Grassium, and the Waterium-Z is that I probably won't be using them for quite some time. You unlock each of them by unlocking each of the reconstruction options and doing a side quest that's related to those options, and I have no idea which options people are going to take, and it doesn't seem fair. Not everybody is going to have unlocked the Firium-Z first, or not everybody's going to have unlocked like the Waterium-Z first or the Grassium-Z first, so I just feel it's better to wait until I can unlock every one of them on a single save file before I actually start using them in this playthrough. So enough about that, we're going to go ahead and head over to the train station. It's time to get a move on. So over here in the lower Peridot ward, we're going to go ahead and go back into the train station, the place where we first came to Reborn City, and we're going to access this little machine right here, grab our ticket, and right before you go through this gate, I recommend that you save. This isn't relevant to you if you battled Taka within the water treatment center, but if you did not, which is something I would recommend, then you want to save right here because you won't have another option to save past this point. Also, you may want to go ahead and reorder your team however you would like. I'm pretty happy with having my Excadrill in the front, so we're just going to go ahead and go from here. And over here at the landing station, we will encounter none other than Taka. So as I mentioned earlier, you won't have this battle if you went ahead and battled Taka in the water treatment center. But I think this is the more preferred option right here. It does have its own consequence if you really like Taka, but that's kinda negligible. So we're battling on the desert field. There's not a lot of effects for this field. The last time we actually battled on this field was against Florina, which was ages ago. He's going to start off with his Klefki over here, Prankster, Leftovers, Substitute, Thunderwave, Swagger, and Foul Play. I also did a little bit of training. I leveled most of my team up to level 83. I think I got tired by the time I started working on my Roserade. I used sort of the combination of grinding on the NPCs in the Grand Hall and actually using my winnings to buy rare candies. Next up is his Gliscor. It's going to have Poison Heal, Toxic Orb, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, U-Turn, and Roost. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with a Blizzard and knock it out in one shot. Next up is the Miner. So I'm going to go ahead and send in my Staraptor on this. As usual, Shields down, White Herb, Shell Smash, Acrobatics, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. I'm going to go ahead and Final Gambit. I didn't go over this in the Adrian video because I kind of assume most people would know, but Final Gambit is a sacrifice move. Your Pokemon goes down and whatever HP that it currently has will be taken out of the opponent's HP. So from here, I'm not sure what I want to send in. I think I'll go ahead and send in my Ninetales right here. And here he's going to send in his Chatot. Chatot has Keen Eye, the Normalium-Z, which we should see just a minute. Has Heat Wave, Nasty Plot, Boom Burst, and Encore. It's kind of weird to envision Taka doing the Normalium-Z dance, but I mean, if Team Rocket can pull it off in the Pokemon anime, then I think Taka can pull it off pretty well. So anyways, this doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and Rock Slide his Chatot right here and knock it out. Something else I forgot to mention about the Chatot, or I shouldn't forget to mention about the Chatot, is that it has an EV overflow in its special attack. I'll have to check on this later because I don't know how many EVs it actually is, but you can only have 252 EVs in a stat. Every 4 EVs gives you 1 stat point, and I think it has like 500 something EVs in special attack. Next up is going to be the Alolan Executor. Executor actually has Harvest, it has the Telyurk, which boosts its defense, special defense, and speed, but it applies Sand Tomb to it. And Sand Tomb in the desert will deal 1/6 of your HP, so that's no good for it. Also has Nature Power, Dragon Hammer, Earthquake, and Wood Hammer. None of that matters because I'm just going to hit it with a Blizzard and knock it out. And finally is going to come his Komala. I'm going to go ahead and send out my Infernape on this. Komala has the usual Comatose, it has Leftovers, it has Wish, Return, Knockoff, and Bulk Up. And I'm going to go ahead and knock this one out in one hit too. And that is the final Taka Battle for this route. So eventually you'll get to this point and he'll ask if he can come with you on your journey. And of course we're going to tell him yes, this is exactly why I recommend this route over the route where you battle him in the water treatment center. Anyways, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, by allowing Taka to come with you because you didn't battle him in the water treatment center, he will tag along with you in the desert. And as long as we don't go straight to our objective, he will stay with us and he'll basically heal us up constantly, which is really, really nice. So anyways, we want to head down this way first, and we want to collect this focus sash that's right here. Also, he will comment on absolutely everything. Usually it's kind of cynical and it's pretty funny, honestly. So up here, we can actually find some Alolan Executors, and we kind of need to get rid of them. So go ahead and encounter them. You can catch them if you want even, and they will come back later. Also, I'm not really sure why he's so surprised he has one. It's really, really weird. They're also really, really high level, but that's not a problem. So we want to get rid of those two, and we want to get rid of the one that's right here. So with this, we can access those rocks, and we can come up here to grab the Wild Charge. And again, Taka will comment on absolutely everything. And that's perfectly fine with me. So there's still a few more items that I want to collect out here in the desert. To be completely honest, there's actually a lot of content that we can take part in here in the desert. Some of it we can bring Taka with us for, and some of it we kinda can't. Over here is actually a Mirage spot. You want to try and find 3 of them. No more, no less. And what you do when you find them is you can actually use the light shard that you find right here and they will disappear. So we want to go ahead and find 3 of them before we continue on later. If I find them on screen, then that's fine, and if I don't, then it doesn't really matter. I'll find it off screen. Over here we actually have the stone plate. And from here we actually have a really, really rude hiker that should not have talked to me. So we want to just follow the train tracks for just a little bit. There is a massive puzzle with the train systems that we're going to have to deal with much, much later on. But we're actually not going to deal with that right now, not for the moment. So over here is another hiker, and one that we actually have to deal with this time. So this hiker actually has a bit of a gimmick here. He has a level 1 Aron with the Shell Bell, has Sturdy, and the Sandstorm is going on. I think you get the picture here. You kind of need to status this Aron in some way, or else he's just going to troll you and basically destroy your whole team. The only methods of really dealing with this Aron are status. Confuse it, burn it, leech seed it, you know, all of that will work. Which is actually why I brought my Roserade out here. So that hiker is really annoying, but our reward for dealing with that hiker is going to be the TM for bulk up. And that's pretty much all we have to do on this side of the desert for now. So after this, I need to find 2 more Mirage spots, and then we can make our merry way to the next stop. Alright, so I'm back after finding 2 more Mirage spots. You only want to find 3. You could find more than that, but you don't want to touch light shards and make them disappear. You only want to find 3 of them. So just for a point of reference, I'm going to be starting at the point that we were first dropped off in the desert at, and we're going to make our merry way north. So there's not a lot of reference points here in the desert, so you can kind of get lost easily. But the first reference point should be all the way up north here. If you ever do actually manage to get yourself lost, then you want to immediately find a wall and hug it. So we're here. This is the train scrapyard, and we want to make our way east of here. So we just want to keep going east along these walls, go a little bit south whenever you have to. Alright, that was actually pretty annoying. I didn't mean to run into that tree there. But once you go as far as you can east, you want to go ahead and head on north from here. And eventually, you'll start seeing sort of tiles like this, you'll start seeing weird objects like this. And eventually you will reach a grassy area, assuming you have seen 3 Mirages and no more. And now we can go ahead and enter the Mirage Tower. So again, because we have Taka with us, we will get a bit of text out of him. And our first order of business inside of this tower is to actually break open this wall. This may seem a little bit pointless, besides causing damage to your Pokemon. However, there is something we can get out of this, and this is also why having Taka is so helpful. Taka will actually heal our party. He won't do it immediately, as you can see right here. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to break open the walls as much as you possibly can, and then get into a battle, and Taka will heal your Pokemon after that battle. So once you've broken every single part of this wall that you could possibly break, it'll look like this. It doesn't matter which tile you leave for last, but once you get to the last tile, you will actually create an opening. And Taka will also tell us that we are very destructive, which he's not wrong. So down here is a bit of a maze, and it can get a little confusing, which is why I'll have a map in the description, because believe me, I actually need that map too. But our goal is to reach the northeastern corner, but we have to take sort of a winding path around everything. And occasionally you will run into a large spider web that will kind of impede your progress. So I should be on the right path now. There's also a lot of items that are scattered around here, and I'm not really going to bother to grab any of them. But our reward for coming all this way will be to grab the poison memory. Taka will ask us if we can leave, and we will also find a Mimikyu right here. I highly recommend that you save before you fight this Mimikyu, because it is the only Mimikyu in the entire game. So go ahead, save, encounter it, and do your best to catch it. After catching the Mimikyu, Taka will question if we have not lost our absolute freaking mind. You can also grab a Telluric Seed, or actually an Elemental Seed that is behind the Mimikyu. And there is a Mining Rock here as well. But besides that, you are free to go ahead and leave exactly the way you came. So once you hit the stairs of the Mirage Tower basement, you will immediately find yourself back on the first floor of the Mirage Tower. And now we're going to go ahead and solve the puzzles of the Mirage Tower itself. It's pretty easy actually. So you have one side over here that we can actually manipulate, and we have another side that we cannot manipulate. The side that we cannot manipulate will copy every movement of this side, and our goal is to push both of the pieces into the spotlight. And once we do so, we will find more stairs, and we can immediately move up. For this puzzle, I'm going to go ahead and move this piece all the way up to the top, then all the way over to the left. Then I want to move this piece downward. Even though we can't actually move the piece that we're pushing, we can move the other piece on the other side. I want to move it all the way down to the bottom and then push it all the way over to the right, a couple. And no, we did not take a wrong turn. We are actually down on a new floor. We want to go ahead and push this piece all the way over to the right. Down 2. Over a couple. Down a couple more. Then we want to push it over right a couple more times. And then we want to push it down. And then we want to push this all the way over here, and then down one more. I really like the Mirage Tower puzzles. It's not just the puzzles, they're really unique and really nice. However, it's also just the really calming music that you have in the background here. So for this puzzle, I believe I want to push this down 3. To the right 1, I want to push this up 1. I want to push this to the right 2 more. Push this up. Push this to the right 2. Then actually push this down 2. I want to push this left, down 2 more, and then finally right. For this puzzle, I want to start off by pushing this all the way over to this gap right here. Then I want to push this down. Then I want to push this a couple to the right. Push this all the way down 3 times, and then to the right a couple more times. From here, I want to push this left towards that gap. Then I want to push this upwards, and then over 3 times to the left again. Then I want to push this down, then I want to push this over a few more times, and then I want to push these both over again. For this puzzle, I want to start off by pushing this over to the right until I'm right above this gap right here. Then I want to push this down until I can't push it anymore. Push it over a couple more, then push it down. The whole time you should be watching the right side and not the left. So from here, I want to push this over right a couple more times, then push this actual piece over towards that gap right there. Push it up, push it over left a few times. Then I want to push this down, and then push this over a few times more. And then finally, I can push it left into the spotlight. What'll happen right here is we'll actually find a gap that we can crawl into. And again, we'll be right at the next puzzle. Starting off this puzzle, I want to start this from the right side. I'm going to go ahead and push this over left 4 times. I want to push this down 3 times, and then push this back up. I want to push this over right 4 more times, and then down until I can't push it down any further. From here, I want to push this over left 3 times, and then I want to push this up 4 times. Thankfully, you can actually see the other piece, so you can easily count how many times you're pushing it. From here, I want to push this left once, and then up 4 times again. And then I want to push it down 2. Here we will actually have a staircase that will form, and we should eventually, after running around here, we will finally enter an area that is very similar to the desert outside of the tower. It's not. And if we go south, we can kind of see that. So we want to continue to make our way down south, and eventually we will enter this area right here. From here, we can go ahead and grab the TM for Will-O-Wisp, and we can go ahead and grab the Normalium-Z. We can also go ahead and... Is he done yet? But anyways, once he is done, we can go ahead and pull the blade, and that is actually a Hone Edge. I'm going to go ahead and send that to my PC. And after he's finally done talking, we can go ahead and leave. Once you leave that area, you will actually find yourself outside the real entrance to the Mirage Tower. But anyways, that's everything for this part. We went ahead and went over a lot of the events that you can find here in the desert. Some of it you can do with Taka, some of it you cannot. But that's all for this part. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all later.